All right, being 7 o'clock, we'll call the special or the common council meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, clerk, roll call has been taken.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, we need a motion to adopt the agenda.
Make that motion.
Motion made by Mr. Besaw, seconded by Mr. Barrington. Any additions or corrections? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried by all. Approval of 12/19/2023 common council meeting minutes.
Move to approve the minutes, Your Honor.
Motion made by
Second.
Mr. Shea, second by Mr. Hess. For approval of the 12/19/2023 common council meeting minutes. Any additions or corrections to those? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried by all. Mr. Dorsey, authorization to pay the bills.
Sure, I make a motion to authorize pay the bills in the amount of $1,095,001.66.
Motion made by Mr. Dorsey, seconded by Mr. Shea. Any additions or corrections to the bills? Please cast your ballots. That motion carried 9-0. All right, up next is special request from the Shamrock Club of New Dublin, Miss Melissa.
Thank you, Mark. Top of the evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Melissa Mulroy, and I'm bringing greetings to you from the Shamrock Club. Let me begin by thanking Luke Hammond's hardworking street crew. You are the ones who will be out there in the wee hours, scraping snow away from the parade route, moving bleachers for good viewing locations, and doing all the wonderful and sometimes difficult things you do to help make this Irish celebration possible. Thank you from the bottom of my wee Irish heart. Can you believe these shenanigans have reached the 40-year mark? I was 33 years old when 7 men and myself met in the upper room at Midtown, which we like to call the upper room, to plan our very first parade and Irish Fest. Yes, that's the one where Police Chief Jack Elders gave me half the street and kept the traffic zooming the other way, going in the other direction. To recognize this landmark year, Shamrock Club member Randy Ogensky came up with an appropriate theme. Oh Lordy, New Dublin is 40. I've given each of you a button that I hope you will wear proudly, knowing that our 35-unit parade in 1984 has grown to be the largest Irish parade in Wisconsin and has achieved international recognition. Why, I heard that Conan O'Brien and Colin Farrell are fighting it out to see which one will be asked to be our next year's parade grand marshal. Who would have ever thought? The scuttlebutt going around town is that April Kapitsky down at the chamber is planning to ask all the shopkeepers to green up their storefronts because, oh Lordy, New Dublin is 40. The Poetry Committee looks forward to reading lots of exciting poems, which will be written by 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. I encourage the children to ask their parents and grandparents to recall some memories of the Irish Week over the last 40 years. Let's get some intergenerational help on the poetry this year. I am grateful to live in America, where we are allowed to celebrate the lands from whence we came. Just stop for a moment and think about that. How many countries around the world shun immigrants instead of welcoming them deny their people the freedom to express love for the country of their origin. We live in the land of freedom, where this is not only allowed, but encouraged. And so I hope the City Council of New London will again consider my request that we temporarily drop our British name and replace it with one more fitting in the celebration of our quarter Irish population. Please allow our city to officially and legally be named New Dublin, Wisconsin, for the dates Monday, March 11 through Sunday, March 17, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Can we have a nomination on the floor?
I move that we allow them to change the name from New London to New Dublin for that week.
Week of March 11th through the 17th.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded by Mr. Roberts. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballots. That motion is carried unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. We look forward to St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you. Welcome, John.
Moving along to public comment. Public comment? Hearing no public comment, we will continue on with standing and special committees, starting off with Board of Public Works, Mr. Hess.
Thank you, Your Honor. Board of Public Works met Tuesday, January 2nd. Meeting was called to order at 5:15. After the pledge was done, there was no changes to the agenda. A motion was made and seconded to adopt the agenda. There was no public input. Approval of the November 6th meeting minutes. Motion was made and carried by all. Wastewater treatment plan updates. Wastewater notes were included with the packet. Next was the approve and recommend a council agreement for wastewater services between the City of New London and the City of Amro. Director Garcia, along with Ben Rule from the wastewater treatment plant, proposed a new agreement that for taking Amro sludge, there would be increased costs from 0.02 cents to 0.029 cents and will start February of 2024. Motion was made and second for approval or recommending the council agreement for the wastewater services between the City of New London and the City of Amro. Motion was carried by all. Next, approve and recommend the council agreement with McMahon Associates Incorporated for design services of Oshkosh Street. Director Garski brought to the committee the contract between McMahon Associates for design services for Oshkosh Street for the 2025 project. It would include sanitary sewer and stormwater design, roadway design, and bidding services. An engineering report will be provided for the sanitary lateral assessments. Early design will hopefully lead to more competitive bidding with an early 2025 rollout. Motion was made and seconded for approval and recommendation to council. Motion carried by all. Director's report. The director's memo is included in the agenda packet and was reviewed by the board. Anniversaries. Mary Mason, 1 year of services, facility custodian, January 22nd. Street sweeper was being used with the good weather. It's currently being repaired after incident causing damage. Crews are out filling potholes. Depending upon weather, may do some crack filling. Mill Street and Wolf River corner guardrail will be replaced after being damaged by a vehicle. Parts are on order and will be installed as they arrive. Barricade across Southland Lane to Oshkosh Street were placed by the owner. The City of New London has not taken over that section of Southland Lane yet. Future agenda items, large item disposal services, and a downtown parking fee. Date and time of the next meeting for Public Works is Monday, February 2nd at 5:15. Being no further discussion, motion was made and second to adjourn the meeting at 5:43. I'd like to make the motion to approve the agreement with the City of Amro for wastewater services.
Motion been made by Mr. Hess,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Ritchie for agreement with the city of Amo for wastewater services. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballots. Ms. Gauss. That motion carried 9-0.
I'd like to make a motion for approval of agreement with McMahon for professional services for Oshkosh Street and utility reconstruction.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Hess, second by Ms. Magowski. Of agreement with McMahon for professional service for Oshkosh Street, street utility and reconstruction. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballots. That motion's carried 9-0 as well.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Hess. Finance and Personnel, Mr. Dorsey.
Your Honor, we didn't have a meeting in January. I need to, make a motion to approve the monthly license list.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Dorsey, second by Mr. Barrington. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's carried by all.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Dorsey. Rolling right along to Park and Recreation, Mr. Biscoe.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Park and Rec Committee met on Tuesday, January 2nd. Meeting was called to order at 5 o'clock. After the pledge of allegiance, motion was made and seconded to adopt the agenda with omission of discussion on agenda item number 6. Consider approval agreement for land use with Wapaka County Emergency Management revision. Motion was carried 10 by all. Motion was made and seconded to approve the November 7th meeting minutes. Motion was carried by all. Public input, there is none. Consider approval agreement with Wapaka County meal site facility use. Director Saul recommended renewing the annual agreement with Wapaka County Department of Health and Human Services and City of New London for the continued use of the Washington Center. Motion was made and seconded to approve an agreement with Wapaka County for congregate meal site use. Motion was carried by all. Director's report. Director report was included in the agenda packet and reviewed by the committee. Additional comments, notes as follows. Updates regarding Hatton Wall reconstruction and Hatton Stadium projects. Pictures made available to show progress on the wall, the stadium seating area, and the poles for netting system. Restroom restoration of Hatton Pavilion update. Chairman's report, there was none. Future agenda items. Agreement discussion, depot and historical village. Wapaka County Emergency Management land use. Washington Center and St. Joe's extra room. Memorial Park planning. Riverwalk overflow docks and parking lot, Old Municipal parking lot location. The next Park and Rec Committee meeting will be held on Tuesday, January 6th at 5:15. There being nothing further, motion was made by Ritchie, seconded by Pache to adjourn meeting at 5:15. I would look for council's approval to consider approval of an agreement with Wapaka County meal site facility use.
That's your motion?
Yes.
Motion made by Mr. Biscoe. Did we have a second? Second by Mr. Dorsey for the agreement with Wapaka County meal site facility use. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballots. That motion is carried 9-0 as well.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Biscoe. Up next, Planning Commission, Mr. Ritchie.
Okay, the meeting was held, planning commission meeting was held December 14th, 2023. Roll call was taken. The group participated in the pledge of allegiance. A motion was made to adopt the agenda and seconded, carried by all. The October 26, 2023 minutes were reviewed. Motion was made and seconded, carried by all. The first and only action item on the agenda item was proposed CSM for 1919 Pershing Road. This was a lot split for a large lot to separate the dwelling and a small section of the parcel from the main portion to allow for the use of the large section for further development. Motion to approve the CSM requested was made and seconded and carried by all. Motion was made to adjourn the meeting and seconded at 5:26. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Ritchie. Economic Development Committee, Mr. Roberts.
There's no December Economic Development Committee meeting this last month.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Up next, minutes and reports will be distributed. They'll be stand as read in your packet. And moving right along, reports of officers and recent events and announcements to the public. Up first is the mayor's announcements. I do not have any extra today, so we will continue right in with the city administrator, Mr.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just kind of an initial notice for the public. The city's planning on starting a process to rewrite the city's zoning code. Later this week, we'll be interviewing 2 consulting firms to help us go through a recommendation process to possibly hire one of them to assist the city in that rewrite process. From the initial proposals we received, it looks like both have indicated their proposed timelines would potentially take the bulk of 2024 to complete. So it's quite a lengthy process to kind of go through the entire zoning code, the zoning maps, and look at the rewrite that way. But if anyone's interested in that process, keep an eye out for future notifications. There's going to be public input and public information along the way, or feel free to contact me in the municipal building and I can keep you up to speed throughout the process. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Hurd. Chief of Police, Mr. Schleter.
Thank you, Your Honor. We had one anniversary, Ben Keach, 1 year. And then I'd also like to welcome Anna Bittner and Ken Johnson as we swore them in yesterday as our 2 newest officers.
Welcome
Thank
to
you.
the city. Thank you, Mr. Schleter. Director of Public Works, Mr. Roberts.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to start off tonight by thanking all Public Works and Park and Rec staff for their snow removal efforts on Friday and Saturday. The storm presented many challenges, starting with wet, heavy snow, then increasing winds, falling temperatures. They had to move much of the wet, heavy snow off the roads, parking lots, sidewalks before it became compact and froze down. This is very hard to do in a short period of time and with minimal salt usage. Being a long drawn out event also presented challenges. Luke did a great job managing the storm, rotating out personnel so we all could try and maintain arterial streets while others tried to get some rest. So thank you all for the hard work and long hours you had to endure. I also want to remind everyone that there are icy patches throughout town, as there are everywhere. Salt is ineffective because of the low temperatures we're facing right now. Next week, temperatures are supposed to increase and be above freezing. At that time, we plan to have the street department out plowing the streets, trying to get this hard pack off. Because of the rain and snow that is forecasted with that mix, if this hard pack remains on the streets, it'll turn to a sheet of ice. So if you end up with some windrows across your driveway, this will tend to happen during this process, but it's something that we have to do. And that is all I have tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. I'd like to say thank you also to you and your crew for all the extra work that they put in and keeping our city safe and open and all the businesses thriving. So thank you. All right, up next, Director of Park and Recreation, Ms. Sol.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm gonna lead off with Mr. Karski. He was speaking of the temperatures coming up next week. I know that there's a lot of people out there that are excited for the ice rink to open up. We are too. We are clearing snow off of it right now, but we need to watch that forecast. And obviously, if it's above freezing, we can't lay a patch of ice down. So just watch our Facebook page for the updates on that. But we do want to get it going as soon as possible as well. And then in the rec department, the daddy-daughter dance is right around the corner on February 17th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Washington Center Gym. This year, there will be a theme of boots and beauties, so a Western theme for that program. Registration is now open, so you can register online, in person, or over the phone at 982-8521. Open gyms are every Friday night and Saturday morning and evening in the Washington Center Gym. You can check out all the details for that on our website. The cost is $5 and we have equipment for you to use, or you're free to bring your own. And then at the Aquatic and Fitness Center, a new session of swimming lessons started this week, but mark your calendars for a new session registration that is on January 29th. That session starts in February, but classes do fill fast. So make sure to call or stop into the Aquatic and Fitness Center January 29th to get your child enrolled in that. And then the Senior Center will be starting to show old time movies on Friday afternoons from 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Reserve a meal with the county meal site and then stay for a movie after lunch. So we have a lot going on at the Park and Rec department. If you don't want to get out of the cold, we have something for you. And we also have something outside with the sled hills too, which is open. So and all of this can be found on our website at www.newlondonwi.org. And that's all.
Thank you, Ms. Swope.
You're welcome.
Fire Department, Mr. Ritchie, do you have a report?
Yeah, we've got 6 anniversaries. Ryan Popke with 1 year, Justin Wimpy with 1 year, Matt Bennett has 7 years, Ryan Ritchie has 12, Greg Stylen has 34, and myself, I got 39.
Awesome,
And that's all I have.
congratulations, and thank you all for your service. And thank you, Mr. Ritchie, for your report. Utilities Manager, Mr. Bassett.
Thank you, Your Honor. Electric crews are currently trimming trees. Water crews are changing out meters. They completed 40 of the required 150 this year. After a year-long process, we finally got approval from the DNR. We will be notifying our customers with billing inserts. We will start injecting polyphosphates beginning February 5th. Electric crews responded to 205 Cook Street. We had a weatherhead come off during the storm Saturday. Electricians restored that, and then our crews re-energized it. That was the only outage we experienced in all the weather we had this last weekend. And then lastly, I'd like to recognize Andy Chandler with 13 years of service for the utilities. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Bassett. Outstanding service as always. Thank you very much. Clerk Ryerson.
In the clerk's office, we will not be holding a primary on February 20th. There were not any races with enough candidates to require a primary. So there's not going to be a primary in February, but we look forward to seeing everybody at the polls on April 2nd.
Thank you, Mr. Ryerson. And that is all that I have on my sheet. Looking for an adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Mr. Roberts,
Second.
second by Mr. Hess. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? A motion carried by all. We are adjourned.